Hello, my dear children. How are you all? This is Nikunj Mishra, your science teacher. Hope you all are staying home and staying safe. So, children, today we are going to discuss about your science chapter 1, plant reproduction. In this chapter, we will discuss about how plant reproduce. So, children, animals, human beings, and plants are all living things. All living things take birth, grow, reproduce, and finally die. The process through which living things give birth to young ones similar to themselves is called reproduction, meaning all living things have a limited lifespan and die sooner or later. So they produce young ones like themselves during their lifetime so that their species may not die out. This process is called reproduction. You can see, wait a minute. Reproduction. Okay? Now, children, let's discuss reproduction in plant. There are so many plants around us. Plants reproduce in many ways. For example, flowering plants reproduce from seeds. Some reproduce from their body parts like roots, stems, and leaves, while some like fern, mushrooms, and mold reproduce from tiny seed like structure called spores. So children, what is the meaning of spores? Spores, one of the very small cells like seeds that are produced by some plants and that develop into new plant. Okay, now reproduction from seeds. Most plants bear flowers. Once flowers bloom, they turn brown. The petals fall off and they change into fruit. Fruits have seeds inside them. These seeds contain a new plant. When the seeds are sown into the soil, a new young plant starts growing. You can see structure of a seed. Okay? Now, a seed consists of a baby plant inside it called the embryo. See, embryo. Okay? So children, what is the meaning of embryo? A baby plant in the early stage of development before birth is called embryo. Okay? The embryo has two ends. One end grow into the root and the other end grow into the shoot. The outer covering of the seed is called seed coat. Children, what is the meaning of seed coat? What is the work of seed coat? I'll tell you. Seed coat. It is a protective outer coat of a seed. Okay? It protects seed. Okay? That's why it is called seed coat. And it protects the internal parts of the seed. A seed also contains a seed leaf called cotyledon. It stores food for the baby plant inside. Now, what is the meaning of cotyledon? Okay. A part inside a seed that looks like a small leaf, which the developing plant uses as a store of food. Cotyledon are the first part of the seed to appear above the ground when it begins to grow. Okay? Now, some seeds like gram, pea and bean have two cotyledons and are called dicotyledons. Other like maize, wheat and rice have only one cotyledon and are called monocotyledon. So children, what is the meaning of dicotyledon? Okay, I'll tell you. A flowering plant with an embryo that bears two cotyledons. That bears two cotyledons. Remember this line, okay? Always remember. Number 2, monocotyledon. A flowering plant with an embryo that bear a single cotyledon. Okay? Now, we will discuss germination of seed. How seed germinate. Okay? Before we start this topic, germination of seed, please see the diagram, the picture of monocotyledon and dicotyledon. Okay? See? Monocotyledon, dicotyledon. Okay? Now, let's discuss germination of seed. How seed germinate? The process by which a seed produces a baby plant or seedling is called germination. The essential proper amount of water, air and warmth. When the seed is sown in the soil, it gets water and nutrients from the soil. It gets water and nutrients from the soil. Okay? Air also reaches the seed through pores in the soil. Okay? It also gets warmth from the inside and from the sun through pores in the soil. After some time, the seed coat breaks and the baby plant emerges. The baby plant develops roots and a shoot. As the plant grows in size, it develops leaves. The cotyledons shrink and disappear. Okay, children? So, let's discuss about dispersal of seeds. How seed dispersed. Okay? Now, dispersal of seed. Thousands of seeds are produced by the parent plant. Okay? But some seeds are eaten by birds, animals and human beings, and some die due to lack of air, water and sunlight. If all the seeds fall and grow beneath the parent plant, they will be overcrowded and there will not be enough nutrient space and warmth for each plant. So it is important that the seeds are dispersed over a wide area where they get enough sunlight, air, water and space to grow. The scattering of seeds away from the parent plant is called seed dispersal. Okay? So children, what is the meaning of seed dispersal? I'll tell you. Seed dispersal is the movement or transport of seeds away from the parent plant. Plants have limited mobility and consequently rely upon a variety of dispersal vectors to transport their propagules, including both abiotic and biotic vectors. Now, children, let's discuss about different type of dispersal. Seeds are dispersed by different agents like winds, water, animals, human beings and also through explosion. Number 1. Dispersal by wind. Seeds which are scattered by wind are usually small and light. Dandelion and cotton seeds have long and fine hairs surrounding them. This makes it easy for the wind to carry the seeds away. Some seeds, like that of maple and drumstick, have tiny wings attached to them, which help them float in air and fall to the ground. Okay. Number 2, dispersal by water. The seeds of plants that grow in or near flowing water are generally dispersed by water. The lotus has spongy light fruit which helps it to float away from the mother plant. Coconut has air trapped between its fiber which helps it to float. Coconut can travel for thousands of kilometers across seas and oceans without decaying. When it reaches the shore, it germinates if it gets the right condition. Now, dispersal by animals. After eating fruits, we throw away the seeds. Okay. When these seeds fall on the ground, they germinate. In this way, we help in their dispersal. Okay. When birds and animals eat fruits and seeds come out as droppings, these seeds germinate in place far away from the plant. Some seeds like xanthium have hooks or spines. They stick to our clothes or to the skin of animals. Then they get dispersed to distant places. Okay? Children, did you know some animals like the squirrel bury the seeds for winter and forget about them? Okay. Later on, these nuts may grow into trees. Now, dispersal by explosion. So, children, do you know what is the meaning of explosion? It means a sudden and extremely violent bursting. Okay? In some plants, when the seeds grow, the fruit dries up and bursts open. As a result, seeds are dispersed due to explosion of the fruit. Lady's finger, peas, etc. have pods which burst open and the seeds get dispersed. Okay? Now, let's discuss reproduction through body parts. Not all plants grow from seeds. Okay? All plants not grow by their seeds. Some plants reproduce using their own parts like roots, stem or leaves. This kind of reproduction is known as vegetative propagation. Okay? Let's discuss about reproduction from roots. Sweet potato and carrot are roots that have been modified to store food. When replanted, these roots grow into new plants. Okay? From stem, some plants like sugarcane, rose, hibiscus, etc. can grow from the cuttings taken from their stems. These cuttings have small buds on them. When the stems are sown in the soil, the buds grow out into new plants. Next. The plants like ginger and potato are called underground stems. The stems of these plants have eyes on their stems. When these stems are planted in the soil, each eye grows into a new plant. Next. From leaves. Bryophyllum plants produce new plants from the margin of its leaves. The tiny plants let fall off on the ground and grow into independent plant. From spores, plants like ferns, mushrooms and other fungi grow from spores. They are found on underside of the leaves. The spores fall on the ground and grow into new plants. Okay, children. Let's discuss about crops. What are crops? Okay. Plants that are grown in large quantities to provide food and other useful substances are called crops. This practice of growing large quantities of plants for food and other purposes is called agriculture. Okay. So children, do you know what is the meaning of crops? Okay. All the grain, fruit, vegetable, etc. of one type that a farmer grows at one time. In other words, plants that are grown on farms for food. Okay? And next, what is the meaning of agriculture? Agriculture means keeping animals and growing crops for food farming. Okay? Now, crops are of different kinds. Food crops such as rice, maize, and wheat. Fiber crops such as cotton, jute, and hemp. Number third, all oil producing crops such as peanut, mustard, and linseed. To grow properly, all crops require sunlight, water, air, and fertile soil. Some crops, however, may require one of these in a greater or lesser amount. So they are grown in different season and in different areas. Okay, children? Crops that grow in the winter are called rabi crops. Okay? They are harvested in March. Wheat, gram, cabbage, and cauliflower are some example of rabi crops. Crops that grow in the summer are called kharif crop. They are harvested at the end of the monsoon season. Rice, maize, brinjal, and pumpkin are some example of kharif crop. Okay, now children, let's discuss stages of agriculture. The farmer works very hard to get a good yield for a good healthy crops. The various stages of a crop production are given below. Number 1, plugging the field. Number 2, adding manure. Number 3, sowing the seed. Number 4, irrigating the field. Number 5, spraying pesticide of fertilizers. Number 6, harvesting. Now, let's discuss some healthy crops. Okay, crops need proper care so that they can produce better yield. Here are some tips for growing healthy crops. Number 1, the crops to be grown should be selected after considering the kind of soil in the area. For example, rice grows well in wet, clay soil, but groundnut needs porous, sandy soil. Time to time, sufficient amount of manures and fertilizers should be added to the soil to make it fertile. The seeds sown should be of good quality. Adequate water should be provided at different stage of the growth of the plant. Second point is, crops should be spread with insecticides and pesticides to keep them free from pests, disease, and harmful animals. Weeding, that is removal of unwanted plant, should be done regularly. So children, chapter is finished. I'll give you some assignment question. Please do these questions in your science notebook. Okay, tomorrow we will discuss your exercises. Okay, so God bless you all.